Lifestyles, what's up? Kingdom Barber here, back with another video, back with another product review. So today's video is going to be on a couple of razors I picked up from my local barber supply stores. Now before we get into these razors, you already know what to do, guys. Make sure you smash that subscribe button. Also, get a video a thumbs up if you like the content, and follow me on my Instagram page at Kingmelifestyles. So without further ado, let's roll that intro. Welcome back to the channel, guys. So we are going to go over these two razors I picked up from my local barber supply stores. Let's go over the names. First name is going to be the Parker safety razor that I picked up. And then the other one is going to be called the, and forgive me if I pronounce this wrong, but I want to say that it's called Misakai razor. And this is more of a Japanese style razors, and you guys know I'm a huge fan of the Japanese style razors. So what we're gonna do is go over to my station, open up these two boxes right here, take a look at the razors, and kind of go over a couple of things you should look for when you're trying to buy a razor or figure out what razor works best for you. So let's head over to my station, guys. All right, guys, so here are the two razors that I just picked up from my local barber supply store. Let's start off with this one, which is gonna be the Parker safety razor. Since 1973, they've been established. And it's just gonna come in this all black box, nothing special. Let's open this up. So here it is, guys, the razor. Let's take it out of the plastic. So this Parker razor is gonna come with the black handle here, and the razor part of this is gonna be in stainless steel. On the razor, it's engraved Parker safety razor. Right here it's gonna say it's made in India. And you're gonna see the little logo right there. It's not a heavy razor at all, so if you prefer more of a lighter razor, this is a pretty good choice. So to add your razor in here, what you do is you slide this up, and then you slide your razors in here. Once the razor is in, and then you close the latch, you have your razor exposed right here. So I haven't used this razor yet, but I do know that this razor doesn't expose the razor a lot, and this is also a very light razor as well. And then here's just gonna be some instructions on how to use this razor. That's it for the Parker razor. So next up is gonna be the Misakai Japan. And this is a Japanese style razor. It's gonna come in also a black box. Let's open this up. So here's the Misakai razor. Let's take this off. It's gonna come in all black. On the razor part of it, it's gonna say the Misakai Japan. This handle here is gonna be like a hard rubber for grip. I like using these razors because you have more control when you're using these razors. So for me, I just love this style of a razor to use when I'm doing my shaves, lineups, and beard trims. I like using this razor. Now, as far as the weight on this razor, I would say that it's a little heavier than the Parker razor. So you have a little bit more weight on this. This is gonna be more of a pinch clamp. So what you do is to load up your razor, you have to pinch it. You can slide it up like that as well. And you can load up your razor in that way as well. So these are the two style of razors that I just picked up today. My favorite is the Japanese style razor, but a lot of people do like using this razor. You're gonna see most barbers using this style of a razor. So here's another look at both of these razors here. So just to show you guys another Parker razor just like this. This is also a Parker razor, but the difference with this Parker razor is that when you open this up, it's more of a butterfly kind of a latch there, and you load up your razor right here, and then you also click that on and it kind of secure the razor as well. I would say that this Parker razor right here is definitely more of a razor for beginners. So if you're a beginner barber and you're looking for a razor, I would say to get this Parker razor. The weight on it is really light. The thing is that when it comes to exposure on this razor, you don't get a whole lot of exposure, which is good for beginner barbers because you don't want your razor to be too exposed when you're doing your shaves or your lineups. You might not be as comfortable with having a really exposed blade. I've been having this razor since barber school. This has lasted me a very long time and it's still in great shape. Now, when you start getting more into the higher end razors, these right here are definitely hands down my two favorite razors to have. They're from Artisan Feather Club. If you've seen any of my razor videos, you know that I've always show you guys these two razors here. I've been having these razors for a long time as well. And both of these razors come with the pinch lever as well. You have to pinch the back of the razor to slide your razor in the front here. And this one also is the same way as well. Just pinch it. So this Misakai razor is more of a cheaper version of these razors. Now this razor, actually, to be honest, is about the same weight as this razor. For this razor to be inexpensive than this razor, I think that it's a good bargain to get this razor if you want to try more of the Japanese style razor. And you can use different blades for these type of razors as well. So if you want to use a regular like Sharps blade, or you want to use Persona blades, which I like using, you can also use that as well. And what's cool about that is that it's going to have more exposure when you use that. So if you want to see more of that blade and see what you're cutting, these are a really good choice to have as well. And just to show you guys a different style of a razor, this was the very first razor I started with. Now this razor again has a little hook there. This razor has a lot of exposure on it, and I'll show you guys the different exposures on each of these blades. But this one right here has the most exposure. All of my blades, this one has the most. But this is also a light razor as well. It's inexpensive, and this has lasted me for a very long time. I actually use this razor for something different now. When I'm doing shear work, I like to use these to texture hair now, instead of using this as a straight razor. The blades for these are pretty expensive to use to do shaves, so I find it much easier and better to use this for more texturing hair. So I just want to go over little razors that I do have right now. I have more razors. I'm not going to go over all of my razors. I'm just going to go over the ones that just are a little bit different and a different style of razors. And here's another razor that I used to use. I don't use this razor anymore, but this one has the butterfly latch, which opens up and you will put the full razor in there. What I use this for is when I did my bald fades. Well, the reason why I was using this to do my bald fades is because I like to go against the grain. Most people, when they use their razors, they go in with the grain to shave off the hair. But with having this razor, I was actually going up with the razor to get it even more bald when I use this razor. But I don't use it anymore, but it is a good razor to have. Honestly, I would say get this if you're a beginner barber. I would say get it because it's a little bit more safer in a sense that you're not gonna get a lot of blade exposure with this. When you're shaving this, you don't have to press very hard. You can be very light-handed with this. And again, you can go a different direction. This is a pretty good razor for a beginner as well. And the last razor I wanna show you is actually, it's a little holder. So what you wanna do is you wanna put your razor inside here and it'll just hold the razor. So when you're doing like your mustache or you're doing your lineups and you want something that's gonna be a lot smaller and getting those really tight areas, you will have to be pretty advanced at using razors because you're pretty much just having a razor in there and you're using it like this. And that can be a little scary for some people. I would say practice on your arm when using this before you start using this on clients. It can be very difficult. It took me a while to learn how to use this razor. I wouldn't recommend this razor for any beginner barbers. I don't even know if they sell these anymore. I bought this so long ago. I think I was in barber school when I bought this, but I've had this for a very long time. I never did really use it a lot, but it is kind of cool because I do know barbers who actually just hold a razor and they actually line up their clients. And what this does is basically just gives you a little bit more room to hold your razor blade. So we'll start off with the Parker razor. So I'm not gonna show you guys the two new razors because I haven't used those yet, but I'm gonna just show you with some of the older razors that I've have and different exposure. And let me just show you the one I recommend for any beginner barbers to use, which is gonna be this Parker razor. I'm gonna just show you guys the exposure. So whenever you're getting a razor that's a full razor, you want to take it out the package. So once it's out of the package, what you want to do is you want to break it in half, and then you want to just rip it, and then you just save the other one for later. So now that I have the razor broken, now I'm using these razors because I don't really care for these razors. I don't use these. I usually use the Persona blades. Those are my favorite ones I like to use. So you just set the razor in there. It's really easy. And you latch over it, and then there you have it. And as you can see, it's not a whole lot of blade exposure, very user-friendly for beginner barbers. I'll recommend this to a lot of new barbers out there, is to use this Parker razor. The blade in here is very secure. It's not gonna just come out. When you get into the Feather Artisan Club razors, what I like about this razor, again with this pinch lever, which you can also do on this new razor that I picked up, which is a Misakai razor. You can also use this blade inside here as well. And so what I like doing is I like to just pinch it and let the blade just fall in. And as you can see, it has a lot of exposure on the blades. That can be a little scary if you're a beginner barber and you're not comfortable with using a razor. That can be a lot of exposure. So I wouldn't recommend this for any beginner barbers. You can use this style of razors, and you can also use the Pro Guards and also these Pro Shaves that I picked up from my local barber supply store. And I'll show you these different types of razors. You can take that out easily. And then when it comes to more of the Japanese style handle, again, you're gonna get a lot of exposure on that razor. It's just so much easier to use when you're using this style of a razor. You're gonna have just this handle. I'm not even sure what style of razor you would call this one. To use this, you have to kind of open it up a little bit. And that was another thing, it's not the easiest blade holder. And so that's pretty much how you have that on there. The whole time you're kind of squeezing this so that blade stays in there. And that's pretty much how you use that. Now, I wouldn't recommend this for any beginners. Again, you gotta be a little bit more advanced to be able to use this. It is a really dope razor holder to use. I really like this, actually. And maybe I should start using this again, who knows? For you beginner barbers, if you guys wanna use more of this style of a razor, what you wanna do is you get a brand new razor. What you do is you slide it in like that, and then you close the latch. And then let's look at this exposure. It's kind of hard to see, but it's very little exposure. Again, it's good for when you're shaving down, and if you also want to shave up as well. Real easy to do. And then my OG razor, my first ever razor, and let me show you how this works. So you get this style of a razor. These are, I want to say, about $1 a razor, so they get pretty expensive to use. So that's why I like using this to do hair texture when I'm doing shear work. And this goes in basically like that. And you see it has a lot of exposure. I wouldn't recommend this razor for a beginner barber. For me, I like the exposure when you're shaving. Definitely a good razor. I'm gonna show you how I use this. So what I like to do with this particular razor is I like to add this little guard here. And with this guard, it allows me to texture the hair. And what I'm doing is I'm lifting up the hair and I'm just feathering out the hair to give it texture. So this razor is definitely more of my, my hair texture razor. Now back to more of my most expensive razors, the Feather Artisan Club. Now I showed you earlier that you can put just the regular razors in here and you're gonna get a lot of exposure, which I like, but it also takes these type of razors as well. And the way you do it is you just slide it in. Here's the thing, with this style of razor, you don't get a lot of exposure, as you can see. If you're a little past of a beginner and you want a really good razor, I would recommend using this. Again, these blades are really expensive. They're about $1 as well, a blade. So they can get really pricey. So if you're doing a lot of lineups and beard lineups, you just want to use these regular blades instead of using these. Just way too expensive to use these blades to do that. Now what I like using these blades for more so is to do clean shaves. But if you also have a guy who just has really thick hair and you want to do clean shaves, I like using these razors to do that because they're strong, really sharp, and you're going to just get a great shave with this razor. So if you are in the market and you're looking for a really good razor, just make sure you get the Feather razor. And to take out the razor, you just open the latch and it comes out really easy. Okay guys, so here are the two new razors that I just picked up from my local barber supply stores, the Parker Safety Razor and the Misakai Japanese Razor. These both cost $20, which is a great deal, especially for the Misakai razor. The Japanese razor, as far as the weight and feel of it, is very similar to the Artisan Feather Club, which is a very expensive razor. So for the price, definitely look into getting this razor if you are wanting to try more of the Japanese style razor, which is going to give you a little bit more freedom to get in those tight areas. That's why I like using this razor. So when it comes to buying razors, again, there's a lot that you have to think about as far as weight of the razor. Do you like a lighter or heavier razor? And also, do you like your blade to be more exposed or less exposed? When you're a beginner barber, I would say always go with more of the less exposed blade, because having a lot of blade exposure can be a little scary for new beginner barbers, especially when they put it on their neck or, you know, they're lining up somebody's face. It can definitely be scary. So if you're a beginner, try to go with more of the less exposed blade. So before I end this video, I wanted to ask my lifestyleians a question. Is it better to do wet shaves or dry shaves? I've done both and I want to know what you guys think. So get in that comment section, let me know what you guys think about that. And that's going to be a wrap on today's video. Hope you guys enjoy the content. If you did, please give the video a thumbs up. And until then, I'll see you guys on the next video.